That guy on bass here, but you can call me Chris, and in today's video we will be asking one very simple question. How does the Harley Benton MSB5 stack up against my Dingwall? And stick around till the end of the video because I'll be telling you how you can win that bass. Before we go any further, let's get the boring stuff out of the way. I bought the MSB5 with my own money because I really wanted to see how much a bass in this $300 price range will do, pitted against something, almost 10 times more expensive than it. I've got a Dingwall NG2. I've done plenty of videos and spoken about this bass enough. It's pretty difficult to work out what the actual price of this bass is these days because this bass doesn't really exist anymore. You can get an NG3 5-string for just a smidge over £2,000 from Anderton's at time of recording. I bought my NG2 about 3 or 4 years ago for about £1,000, £1,200. So either way, big price difference between the two basses we're talking about today. Before we go any further, let's have a quick look at the specs for the MSB5 and then we'll get into the Shootout itself. I've got the MSB5 in this absolutely spectacular green sparkle finish, which under the lights in the studio, to me, just looks absolutely insane. Bass weighs about 4.2 kilos, that's roughly 9 pounds, and despite this, well, very strange, unique body, it's really well balanced and sits on a strap really well. Got an Akume body, I don't know what that is, with a maple top, 5-piece roasted maple neck. We've then got a maple fretboard with 24 frets and a 45mm nut width. Your eyes do not deceive you, this is indeed a multi-scale bass. On the G string, we've got a 33.3-inch scale length, and then on that low B, we are rocking a 35-inch scale length. It's not the same as the Dingwall, that's a whopping 37 inches, but we'll get to that in the review section of the video. In the electronics department, we have 2 custom HBZ active pickups, along with a 3-band EQ, a push-pull volume pot that controls the active and passive, and then we have a blend switch between the 2 pickups. This is where you put your guitar lead, and then finally we have this, well, we have this bridge that I'm going to get to in a minute. We'll talk a little later in the video about the pros and cons of the MSB5, but overall, just quickly, if you need to know, for the money, this is a really solid feeling bass guitar. Speaking of those pickups, let's have a quick listen to those now. So for today's shootout, what I've done is I've prepared 3 different playing examples. You're going to hear the Harley Benton first, and then you're going to hear the Dingwall. I'm running both the basses in passive. I've done my very best to kind of match the pickup configurations for both basses. The Dingwall has both of its pickups closer together, a little bit more like a Music Man, whereas the MSB5 is spaced out closer to a jazz bass. Sorry? And both of the basses have brand new, fresh nickel strings. Right, let's have a listen. Shootout concluded. I'm getting a headache, so I'm going to put my glasses on and let's do some reviewing. Pros and cons of the MSB5. Let's start off with some of the pros. The overall build quality of the MSB5 is really good. You can stack this bass up against pretty much any bass under $1,000, I would say, and the MSB5 handles it just fine. The neck joint is really good. All of the electronics feel really solid when you're turning them. The machine heads themselves are really great, and the overall balance of the MSB is really great as well. The overall playability is bang on as well, and I'm really impressed with the string tension across all 5 strings. We're going to talk about the electronics overall in the cons section of the review, but I wanted to mention as a pro, I really rate the mid-range on this 3-band EQ. I found myself when running the bass active, I wanted to really crank that mid-range. It was a really useful mid-range control point. I'm not sure exactly what frequency it is. I'll have a look when I'm editing the video, but overall I was really impressed particularly with that mid-range control. I think as well as a pro, the finishes that are available for the MSB5 are really good. I've said it at the start, but I absolutely love this green colour. I don't run the settings on my camera really saturated. I wash them out a little bit because that's just kind of how I like to set the camera. But in person, this green sparkle finish is really sparkly and really bright. I know people don't love the body, but to be honest with you, I actually really like it. It's giving like a bit of a fedora kind of energy, which is really enjoyable. And despite it being such a wacky shape, it's really comfortable and not that heavy. This heel joint as well is really great if you're ever going to get up to that 24th fret. I'm not going to do that, but like I said, very comfortable bass, really playable. Let's talk about the cons. Compared to the Dingwall, there's a heck of a lot less snap on that low B. I found when I was playing the E, A, D and G strings, there was a great chunk of mid-range, really snappy. And then when I got to that B, I felt like I didn't lose any volume, I didn't lose any low end, but I felt the snap was kind of lost. I almost thought it was a mistake I'd made when setting up the bass. That's kind of how drastic the volume drop was. But I don't necessarily think it was my doing. For me, I just really don't think you can beat that 37-inch scale on the low B of the NG2. For me, it's just completely unbeatable and just nothing gets close to it. But again, big caveat, this bass is significantly cheaper than something like my NG2. Overall, the MSB5 is not a particularly loud bass. When I was doing the shootout between the MSB5 and the NG2, I found myself inside the dark glass anagram adding a gain block at the front of the chain to boost the level for the Harley Benton. Even though I'm running both basses passive for the sake of this experiment, that still kind of applies when I run the bass active. A great point is when you hit the active control on the MSB5, there's not a huge jump up in volume, which I think is really great. Overall though, it's quite a dark bass. If you like that, that's great, but I personally really like that snap and that high end you get from basses similar to the Dingwall. So for me, the MSB5 was a little too dark at times. I think the MSB5 would really shine if you added a different preamp and different pickups into the bass. That could really balance out that kind of volume dark sound, I find, and really bring this bass up a notch. Big con is this bridge. I hated restringing the MSB5 before shooting this video. The individual saddles are really great when it comes to the string height and the intonation. I'm really glad Harley Benton chose to do this. However, the actual saddles that the string sits on, when you take the string off, if you're not looking, it just falls off, which is an absolute pain in the arse to deal with. Is this better than the Dingwall? In my opinion, no, it's not. However, if you're someone who is relatively new to bass or doesn't want to spend that kind of money on an active 5-string, maybe it's not massively your cup of tea, but you feel like you need one, we've all been there, I think the MSB5 is a really excellent option, and even more so if you were to upgrade the electronics and the pickups. I've really enjoyed my time with the Harley Benton. I think it's a really great bass, regardless of the price point. I bought it with my own money, and in fact, I'm going to give it away as well. If you'd like to win this exact bass, all you need to do is head over to my Instagram and look at the pinned post, and you'll have all the information there for the giveaway where you can win the MSB5. I've been that guy on bass. As always, you have been exceptional. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider dropping a like and subscribing, ringing that bell, all that silly things. It really helps me out as an independent creator here on YouTube, and I will see you in the next video. Tatty bye.